Welcome everyone. We're coming to you live from Traders Community's trading rooms in the metaverse. It is the December the 13th. We're going to start off where we left off with our bulletin this morning and last night, and also Apple. We're going to start off directly because that actually literally went pretty much to plan. Those that listened to us and followed us. Technically, and I got Nick here, is going to walk through after I go through a quick technical overview. As you recall, this stock has been pretty well being pumped by the investment banks for 4 days now, guys, with a separate up rate every day. One of the mortgages this morning. Yeah, it's just like, so we saw, if you remember, pre-market, it was as high as just over 182.20. All the hype, is probably the nicest way to put it, on people like CNBC and Bloomberg. We're going about the $3 trillion price. It's 182, 84, 86, something like that. From the outset, if you remember, that was a great short, a great sell. We were cautioning if you were still long. We had that gap below. It was plus 2.8, and we'll go back through the daily charts later, but right now, let's look at what it did. 828, the Chicow. This is your 60 minutes. And you can see when it broke, it went straight through everything. Right now, the 240 was a tank and sand we were cautioning. Also here, remember, Nova Wave is combining all the different facets, and it's a dangerous thing to just have one. And someone mentioned to me that on Twitter, why use Ichimoku? Well, you combine different parts of it, and Ichimoku is not just the cloud and all that. It's how it all reacts, and then you bring in the hardcore emotional on. We set Siri off there. Wow, did you hear that? So you can see that once we broke the tank in here at 178.17, which was our first target, we'd actually got through it down here, and then we have still this room down here. Look where it closed though. And this is going to be important when Nick talks about his stuff, is 175 was the breakup level, also a big hedging level. Elliott wave-wise, that was 5 waves up. 1, 2, really long third wave. 4, that can be a 5, of course. But look at that, long wave, and it even broke this here. So that was our target. It actually went more. And just a quick look at the S&P, you can see very similar moves. So you can see the power. These are the same time frames, 60 and 40. Again, look at your Murray Math levels we talked about this morning. And we'll get onto that. So I'm going to bring, without further ado, bring Nick on. And he's going to bring up, he's going to share his screen.
Yeah, sure.
So let's do that. And
yeah, so just very briefly, this is a follow-on from what we discussed the other day.
1 sec, that went sideways.
Yeah, no worries.
What did I do wrong there? Hang on.
So at the top, just rotate it back. Yeah, at the top there.
There we go.
Two more times, and we're good, and we're golden.
There we go.
Perfect. So just following on, I mean, this is the chart we showed you the other day. But obviously today being the last day, it's just very, very interesting. I don't think there's, I think Andrew covered most of the important points, but what you will see is right at the beginning of the day. So at the outset, as I think there was, hope to push the stock to that big 3 trillion level. You saw a lot of call buying. I mean, if you look at that and just visually, if I'm just eyeballing it, I mean, it looks probably that volume looks, more than many of the other days before it, just in terms of options traded. So you saw a lot of call buying in the morning. And as soon as it started pulling back more and more and more, that just, quickly evaporated, which was quite surprising. I'm actually quite, that drop off is quite, not spectacular, but it's large. But also you saw, right, I mean, at the very beginning of the morning, you saw dealers, marking up their options. You see IV at the very bottom right there, and both calls and puts just, compared to the last 4, 5, 6 days, it went much higher. On the skew, not too much to say, but it is quite interesting. Just right off the bat in the morning, you saw skew go down, so coal's more expensive, and then it flipped back a little bit. I don't know, call it an hour and a half into the day, and then just oscillated back and forth. Yeah,
look at this volume you speak of it, man.
Exactly. That was fascinating for me. So look, that's it. I think we covered most of the interesting sort of mechanics the other day, but it's interesting to see an extension of this today.
Yeah, and seeing it at work, right? So
exactly.
Seeing it at work. Good point. Thanks, mate. We're going to bring Madavi on. We're going to talk about. I think you're well aware of our futures trades and setups, how that works. But let's now talk about the Nasdaq, because Madavi, as you know, is the man when it comes to the Nasdaq and the Russell. So here's the Nasdaq first up. You see that, Madavi?
Yeah.
So if you want to walk us through that, geez, that was quite the cliff. I think when he even said to me this morning, this thing's going off the cliff today. And of course, my world's tied up with Apple lately. Oh, I know that. No, the whole thing. So there you have it. He was dead right. If you want to walk us through that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I came in this morning. I had a position in a stock, so I didn't really get to trade the Nasdaq. And we were up in the morning, so it was fairly strong. Then when I seen it breaking down, and the position I held, took a gamble on over the weekend, wasn't working out. I was getting stopped out.
And then I scratched that bit. Gamble. What are you talking about? Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Well, I mean, it's all a game.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
Yeah. So when I seen the market starting to break down, because in the morning, you got to remember, we were strong. Apple was up, and the markets were just starting to. We were in the morning. We were up. Then we started coming down, and then we started picking up speed, and that's when I got up down on that position, and I got short the NQs, and I got short the Russell, and I did
Russell in a minute, but yeah,
later on in the afternoon. But the first move was extremely good. Then it got choppy for almost like a couple hours until almost the end of the day. The end of the day, we had the nicest sell-off. That's where we cleaned the house over there.
Right, so, right. Well, this is a long one. This when it broke that tank in there.
Yeah, that's about last 20 years.
That's the last one here. Yeah, that was a nice fast one too.
Yeah, but, it was getting choppy right around. You see, all over there was going up, and then we were getting chopped up above the clouds.
Yeah, I remember in the S&P. Yeah, I did a little took profit on the short, then a little long, and it was.
Yeah. You were not in that position, or you happened to be long. By the time you're able to recover, you're probably halfway through that fall.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing. If you just trade either off other people's ideas or not confident, you won't have that intuition when you watch the box and you see the bids go away. And you can be like seconds late sometimes in this. So be aware when you go against the trend that, you can... I know the buy the dip trade crowd does really well when that's the wave and that's the pattern. But as Madavi said here, even on the S&P, it was nothing like this. That was a stronger out of them, even though it finished this week. You didn't have like all of a sudden 20 handle slippage and that sort of thing in here, right? And a quick technical analysis look, when you get these fail breaks or spits, that usually means it's a cleanse. So the last, and it couldn't carry through, that's usually a good short. And remember, this was not on any news. This was from a market that was overbought, overconfident, and so it just came top heavy, right? And then when it broke through all this is 30 minutes, you can see what goes on. Now let's look at the Russell, which Madavi was just talking about. So the Russell's been the dog, the run of the litter. And so that's the Russell. Today is over here. Look at this. Do you want me to blow that up?
No, I could do it. I mean, towards the end of the day, Russell wasn't as good as the NQs and everything because I was kind of doing the opposite.
Right, exactly, which is a weird thing given it's been the run for so long.
Well, they usually go hide in one sector, right? So they probably sold the NQs and went to the Russell. That's what
Right.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's definitely what. So the interesting thing is both the S&P and Nasdaq started the day way up here, right? Record highs and all that sort of stuff were close enough. This thing didn't even look at it. So what's interesting, late to the party, probably got caught short down here a little bit while I was selling the big caps in Nasdaq. And I mean, Apple was $7. Yeah, $7 off highs today, and it closed right at its lows. Right now, it's trading at 28.30 on 175. When we came in this morning, that was where it was, but 182, right? So yeah, so a good example of all we really wanted to do in this morning's broadcast was to caution people about the risk of hype and how far it had come from, and that was the point of the weekends thing we did with Nick. This didn't just happen, and so impulse is pretty big. We'll look quickly at the daily on the S&P. Look at that red. It ran into all this. Your bull would be this is doing some kind of reverse head and shoulders. But keep it real. This can be a double top. We have Federal Reserve. We have every other banker pretty much this week. You know where your Cajun and Tankin is. We went through the shorter term, so we don't need to go through that again. There's your Apple. Nvidia just sold off all day. Look at that. We
Yeah,
had that in our weekly.
semis are really weak.
Yeah, that's a 30-minute chart, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 days. That's sold off hard, right? And everyone goes, that's a good company and all that. Well, they're all good companies. Well, I'm not saying they're all, but it comes down to pricing and really how much the market is one way. Quick look at oil for the day. Where's our daily? So oil didn't do much today. Remember, we're consolidating from that big boom. We're kind of trudged in this pennant. Your support's going to be that Tenkin, 67.80, and your Cajun just under 74 on the longer term. Intraday, remember, look at it, what's going on in the 60 minutes. So all day, it came off this little bit here. It came off with a spoon. So there's a risk element, if you ever doubt it, is in oil, right? Natural gas, this is a great one to understand the risks of natural gas. We filled that gap, more or less, and this was all up here, this little gap on Sunday because of a weather model change. It goes up, guess what? That model reverted back to this on the weather, so we sold off all day. So do not trade natural gas, and then you fully understand all that sort of stuff, right? That's pretty well everything there. Is there anything on this you wanted to talk about, Nick? On the POC, where was it? So we closed down near the POC for today. That was yesterday's. So look at that. We've opened right at the bottom of that range. And you can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It gets you all that. Then you get into this virgin territory and that gap. So there is a lot of room potentially downside too. It's not all up. Hopefully today showed you it's not all upstairs. Any stocks or anything anyone wants to talk about? I think that covers up those markets.
I got back short snaps. I'm thinking I'm going to hold that overnight. It was down pretty good today. It should continue it. We'll see. I tried it last week. I made a little bit of money on it, but when it started reversing back, I got out. And I'm doing some of these biotechs after the market right now.
Yeah, there's some wild little moves on those up and down. And you want to be a little bit careful in that market. Sometimes they go a lot further either way than what you want, like all stocks. So just the faster money you're in, the more it can get volatile. And that's kind of what happened to Apple. The fast money got in it. So that's where you got that big, big move down. And we did caution this morning, that thing can move $5 or $10. And it's not going to do it often when you expect it. It tends to go more than what you did. I actually thought might have done a bit more work on at 175 on the way up, for example. So it did, and it went straight to 182. But so those sort of things. Alex was going to join us. I believe he's elsewhere at the moment. So give us some more fun. He's more into that fundamental side of that tech stuff, which would be helpful. But anyway, that's it for today. If you have any question, Harry and Mariana, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know. I see you there in the chat. Anything else? Good job,
covers
guys.
it quite well.
Overnight, we have, in the next few days, we got Feds, we got PMIs. Be aware, that's all on the side of what's coming out and the likely outcomes. Oil and natural gas. Natural gas is pretty much your weather right now. Oil, there's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on, but is it meaningful? We had the OPEC report, monthly report out that's on the site. They're basically saying the variant isn't going to affect things, and they expect demand to stay where it is and then pick up next year. There's more on it there. Not much else. There was no economic releases in the United States today, so nothing there. The Fed is not talking till after Powell's speech on Wednesday, and that's it, I believe.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, look forward to it or don't, stay. But be prepared is kind of the main thing. So everyone, thank you, Nick and Madavi for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, no questions? All right, no problem.
Okay, any questions, mate? All good?
All good.
Okay,
All good.
And where is Apple trading now? New lows of the day, 175.11 in the after
40 basis points off.
So yeah, so that's $7, over $7 off for the blue chip of the blue chips. So gives you an idea what's going on. And one thing I did notice before I go, a lot of tax selling is still going on. Like stocks really aren't bad stocks as far as valuations go, making money, all that sort of stuff. Still getting trashed. So that's probably a little bit of margin, a little bit of tax. I know we all do that. So keep that in mind. Good night.